analysis. I could have sworn I heard Mia's voice. So then, she's still alive, inside your heart. Nicky boy! Oh, Mr. Light. Is it true the detective is the real killer? To be honest, we don't have any definitive proof. But he's the only one who could have done it. But wasn't he at Lordly Taylor that night? Not to mention, we don't exactly know his motive. Why would Detective Atme want to kill Kane Bullard? Oh, it's almost time. But better get back to the courtroom. I need to find some solid proof. It's got to happen sooner rather than later.
Now then, this court is back in session. Mr. Luke Atme, please take the stand.
Well, how do you do, sir, lawyer? I never would have thought to have seen you acting so recklessly.
I couldn't let them hand down your verdict just yet. Not when it would have given you your perfect alibi. An alibi by the name of Master Mask.
I'm sorry, I'm afraid even the great Luke Acme has no idea what you mean. Of course, I've been in the next courtroom ever since 10 o'clock this morning. I'm afraid there's no way I could know what's been going on in here.
You've been in the defendant's seat all day long, correct? Being tried as Master Mask.
Indeed. It's truly child's play to fool the ignorant masses. Not only did the poor fools ask me to protect their valuables, they even gave me a generous reward upon returning their own property to them. Take this red diamond ring that sparkles upon my divine finger, for example.
So the blackmail letter wasn't for Ron, it was for him. I wonder why they hadn't been bringing up the red diamond. So you continue to insist you are in fact Master Mask?
Of course.
Very well then, Luke Atme. Let's begin with this simple question. On October 12th at 1 a.m, Kane Bullard was murdered. Where were you at that time?
One without knowledge lacks even the knowledge that he should be ashamed of himself. Don't worry, I won't hold it against you, Sir Judge.
Thanks.
Alright, Mr. Atme. The night of the murder. Speak. We're all ears.
As you wish, Sir Prosecutor. I was sitting in the air as Master Mask, just as I announced I would. I have more than enough time to prepare. It's a pathetically easy job. A photograph contains no words, but in this case, one turned out to be my witness. The time at which the camera captured Master Mask was the same time as the murder.
Seems the main point of discussion will be this photo of the crime scene.
Everything else up until now was all part of his plan. Let me check that photo again. It says 1 a.m, pretty much. But it doesn't have a date on it, does it? There has to be a secret to this picture as well.
Even the great Master Mask cannot be in two places at once. Now then, if you'll excuse me, I have a verdict to receive.
Unfortunately, Mr. Atme, we still have to do your cross-examination.
A fool is too foolish to know when he is a fool.
You've been hanging around with Franziska? I think he's trying to say you're full of shit, Nick. The only thing that's full of shit is his alibi. So this photograph is the proof, correct?
Indeed it is.
And the man in the photo is certainly wearing a mask.
That's why I'm called Mask the Mask.
But conveniently, that also means there is no way to tell who it really is.
What do you mean? Huh. Are you saying this is in fact not Luke Atme? That could be an accomplice dressed up as Master Mask to create an alibi?
Oh, what an interesting idea. Are you saying that I, Lone Wolf Luke, had an accomplice?
You didn't have an accomplice. The photo's fabricated. If Luke Atme was at KB Security during the murder, then Master Mask in this picture has to be a fake. Then there really was an accomplice. But right now I have no idea who it was. I don't have any idea right now either. Basis objections are just what the guy wants. There's got to be another way, and I'm going to find it. I believe Adrian Andrews hired you at one point.
That's right. That was over 20 days ago, if I'm not mistaken.
You sent the calling card to Lord Taylor 10 days before the heist. That means you sent out the card after you began your security watch, right?
Indeed. There was no reason why I couldn't do both jobs at once. It was the perfect opportunity to steal my largest target.
I see. You truly are evil, aren't you?
Yes, evil's what I am.
Hey Nick, is there something odd about this? Detective Atme was always proud of his ace detective skills, right? But if the urn was stolen from Lord Taylor while he was the only one watching it, he'd have no way to maintain his perfect ace detective persona. You know, that's true. It is kind of odd. Yeah, but all that proves that he's also the Master Mask. So by photograph, you mean this piece of evidence here, is that correct?
Indeed it is. That is it. The very thing that proves I committed the crime.
The very thing that proves you committed the crime. When you think about it, it's really odd. You say it almost as if you had this picture taken on purpose.
Objection! He was simply caught by the very camera he'd set up. We all have days like that.
Indeed. It turned out there was no such thing as the perfect crime after all. Life is truly an ironic thing. A sad blue melody.
Looks like I better gather more information for now. If he's truly the killer, there's got to be something phony in that photo. That's the lie right there. I'm sure of it. About the camera that took this photograph.
Oh, come now, it's all too clear what you're thinking.
Huh?
You think I altered the timestamp on the photograph, don't you?
I'm afraid that's impossible. The camera was set up by Lordly Taylor, and on top of that, it was Lordly Taylor's staff that printed the picture's data. Unfortunately for the defense, there's no way that picture could have been altered. I see.
Looks like I better find something else that could be suspicious. So the alibi's false? It has to be, or he couldn't have killed Mr. Bullard at KB. I'm not really spotting anything unusual. There are two possibilities. Either the Master Mask in the photo is fake, or the photo itself is. This is tough, this one. Nope. Your Honour's statement contradicts this evidence.
It does. I don't see anything contradictory.
Huh? Really?
Objection denied. Try to think before you make accusations, Mr. Wright.
He definitely can't have had an accomplice, could he? You know what? Let me bullshit my way through it and see if anything is said that makes it click. Oh, here we go. I was supposed to... Right.
Are you implying this picture's a fake?
You bet I am. There's definitely something strange about this picture. We took a look around the basement warehouse that night before the theft took place. There's something in the photo that doesn't match my memory of that night. The paint.
Very well, let's hear what you have to say. What about the photograph do you find funny?
The funny part is right here.
This is a blood stain! Blood! Now this case is getting interesting!
Not exactly. This is actually pink paint.
Oh, just paint. And peach colour at that.
From blood to peaches. The judge sure loves going on wild tangents. The problem with this photograph is not the paint. The problem is when you consider the layout of the basement warehouse. It turns out that something that should have been there is nowhere to be seen.
Well, Mr. Wright, what's supposed to be in this picture that's instead of the paint stains?
The supervisor of the treasure exhibit stated the following. There's a good reason for that. On the day of the crime around noon, the golden statue just happened to arrive from our mountain training hall. I realised the statue would be the perfect size for covering up the paint stains. That's why I put it where you first saw it. I myself was there the night the theft took place and saw the statue in that spot. If this picture was truly taken on the night, the statue should have been there.
Objection!
But when I went there in the day after the theft, that statue with the old bag was sitting in the corner. Perhaps it was somehow pushed there accidentally?
Your Honour, this statue is slightly larger than yourself and quite heavy. It would take more than an accidental push to move it that distance.
In that case, can you prove it? Can you give us the rhyme and reason as to why the statue was moved that night?
Can you do it, Nick? Never mind who moved it. The question is, why did they move it?
Well, Mr. Wright, I hope you're prepared with your answer. Who was the one who moved the golden statue the night of the crime?
The one who moved the statue is none other than Luke at me.
Come now, Sir Lawyer. There you go again on one of your strange delusions.
Mr. Wright, what basis do you have for your strange delusions?
It's very simple. The witness was the only one in the basement warehouse that night.
That is indeed very simple. However, why do I want to move a heavy golden statue?
The reason for moving the golden statue, here's where the battle really begins.
Well, Mr. Wright, what reason did the witness have to move the statue?
The reason can be found here in this photograph. Look at me. You pretended to be Master Mask to create an alibi by showing you were at Lordly Taylor that night. But this photograph contains a single fatal flaw. If the statue had been there, your lie would have been exposed like a cheap film at a drugstore. Wow! Who the fuck's gonna understand what that means? That's why you had to move the statue.
A single fatal flaw? Interesting theory. Please enlighten us. Just where in this picture does the lie exist?
Well, the box doesn't look like it has any paint on it, so... The lie is Master Mask.
Are you saying that Master Mask is a fake?
Huh.
You know, I really wish you'd start acting more responsibly.
Huh?
The current question is, why was the golden statue moved? So what possible connection could there be with Master Mask's identity?
Oh, buggers.
Your face has "oh buggers" written all over it. That's a penalty for you. I'll ask you again, Mr. Trite. Where in the picture does the lie exist?
The lie in the photo's somewhere around here.
Jumping to conclusions again? I think you need to take a gander in your local mirror.
As the Yiddish proverb goes, a half-truth is a whole lie.
Keep lying like this and you'll be the one on trial.
Oh man, now they're calling me a liar. The question is, why was the statue moved, right? There has to be some reason why the culprit didn't want the statue in the picture. At least that's what I thought.
I'll ask you again, Mr. Trite. Where is...
Oh, for fuck's sake. Oh, it's the timestamp, you fucking idiot! Naturally, the line in this photo is the timestamp.
What do you mean?
I'll tell you exactly what I mean. On the night in question, Luke Atmey went to KB Security and murdered Kane Bullard. Therefore, it's obvious. It would have been impossible for him to have been at Lordly Taylor at that time.
What does that have to do with the statue being moved?
Remember, if you will, Your Honour, when was the statue placed beside the warehouse door?
Well, the statue was taken down to the warehouse the day of the crime, and it was placed there in order to cover up the paint.
Exactly. Luke Atmey had already decided on the time in which he was going to kill the victim, and so in order to create an alibi for that time, he took this picture days before the murder took place.
What the?
Of course, the statue hadn't yet been brought down to the basement warehouse yet.
Oh!
So on the day of the crime, Mr. Atmey must have been quite nervous. As nervous as a long-tailed cat in a rocking chair factory, so to speak. That's a weird one. Why? Because something that wasn't supposed to be there had been brought down and placed where it wasn't supposed to be. And that is why Luke Atmey had to move the statue on the night of the murder. He did it to make the room match the way it had been in the photo.
Order! Order! Mr. Atmey, is this true?
One moment, Your Honor. Have you forgotten this?
What's that?
The data for the basement warehouse computer. According to this, the camera did indeed go off the night of the crime.
It's true the camera had been set up by Lordly Taylor's staff. However, the program used to manage the data was yours. That alone would have allowed you to tamper with the data.
Order! Order! Mr. Godo, what's the meaning of this? Godo! Frodo! I warned you about making me wait! Now put the coffee down!
My 11th cup. I promise to drink no more than 17 during a trial, which means I'm still good to the last drop.
However, the defense is a very good point.
A good point? So what? We're all but travelers on the road of infinite points. I think he's got his point mixed up with his other points.
You say this photograph was taken ahead of time, yet the statue was moved in order to make it match. That's a very interesting idea. However, there's one point that can't be denied.
Which is...
that it's only a possibility. Men that are trapped by the chains of maybe can never reach their dreams. That's very true.
No, don't fall for that, Your Honor.
Hey, Mr. Damask.
Yeah?
If there's no funny business in your actions as Master Mask, there should be no problem with you telling us your strategy. Let's hear it. Yes, please provide this court with your testimony about your plan to steal the sacred urn.
I first received the request from Lord Taylor 20 days ago. The urn was placed in a box in Savari. It was then sent to the warehouse. Hence, I was actually unable to see the urn for myself until the day of the crime. I knew it was an extremely valuable treasure, so I sent my card 10 days beforehand. I then handed security myself to ensure the crime would go smoothly. At last, I held the urn in my hands for the first time at 1 a.m. October 12th.
Pretty much all the stuff we heard before, isn't it? Yeah, but we'll find the truth hidden in the nuggets of new information he gave.
Witness, you are sure there are no mistakes this time?
Savari.
Very well then. Mr. Wright, you may begin to cross-examine the witness.
You were asked to guard the urn by Miss Adrian Andrews, is that right?
Indeed. See, they had heard of my Zavant.
For fuck's sake.
Zavarking reputation.
I see Miss Andrews is still attracting the weirdos. You better watch out too, Maya.
Yeah, it was placed in a box.
You mean this box?
Yes, that pathetic box. Lady Andrews was especially taken with that urn. And she wouldn't let anyone enter the storeroom, not even me.
Huh, interesting new tidbit. So you're sure you've never seen the urn before?
Indeed. You may ask Lady Andrews to confirm that yourself. My security was focused entirely on the entrance of that warehouse. However, I, Luke Acme, let no information whatsoever slip through my fingers.
You mean this calling card?
That's right. That is without a doubt my calling card.
I guess Mr. Delight didn't make this after all. Of course, because Acme knew about the emblem. Making this card authentic would have been child's play for him. Then no one entered the basement warehouse.
Unfortunately, there are many different treasures being taken there. Thus, for a period of approximately 5 days, people were indeed going in and out of the warehouse.
And this is the photo that proves it, huh?
Indeed, to be honest, even if a photo was taken, I don't think it would matter terribly much.
Nick, if this photo's a fake, Detective Atlee might have stolen the urn whenever this was taken. That's true. You know, he's been saying he never saw the urn until that night. If we can prove he's lying there, we can wrap this up and put a bow on it. I need to take a good hard look at the court record. Not a lot to go on, is there? That detective's been covering his tracks. There's only one thing we need to prove in this cross-examination. That he took this well before the actual night of the crime. How do we do that? There's one thing that Atlee stated very clearly. He'd never seen the urn before he stole it. We need to prove that he's lying. What I'm thinking is the blackmail letter specifically states... No, not the blackmail letter. The card specifically states, take good care of that speckled urn. You'd only know it was speckled if you'd seen it beforehand, because it's not supposed to be. Mr. Atlee, if you really are Mask the Mask, then you also wrote this calling card, correct?
But of course.
Is there a problem with the calling card? Allow me to read a passage from the calling card that Master Mask had written. Take good care of the speckled urn. Now, the speckled here surely refers to this pink pattern on the sacred urn.
Yes, that's true, but so what?
Truth be told, there's no way that Master Mask could have known about this pattern.
What do you mean?
This pink spotted pattern on the urn is actually nothing more than paint stains.
Paint stains?
And these stains did not appear until after the urn had been taken to Lordly Taylor.
I'm not finding this joke to be very funny, Mr. Trite.
The day that the sacred urn was taken to the warehouse, the urn was broken due to human error, or should I say an error-prone human. And that's when the pink paint got on the urn.
You can't be serious.
And yet this calling card clearly mentions the paint pattern. Which means Detective Atlee had seen the urn long before the crime ever took place. In fact, he saw it when this fake photo was taken. And because this photo's a fake, your alibi for the night of the murder no longer holds water.
Witness, do you have anything to say for yourself?
Okay, that did it. He's broken. Nick, I think it's a little early for a victory pose. Huh?
It's so sad. No one has any conviction these days. Conviction, you say? Yesterday, we all decided unanimously this man was Mask to Mask. And now we're calling him a murderer. You don't think we're being a tad fickle? That's a good point.
No, don't fall for that too, Your Honour.
You say Luke Acme's the one who killed Kane Bullard? Let me ask you this. Why would he do that?
An excellent point. Motive, Mr. Wright, motive. Might you, my merry murderous motive manifest? Nick, he's getting a second wind.
If he prepared an alibi and pinned the crime on Ron Delight as you say, he must have had a very strong motive for murder. The only one with any motive we've seen is Ron Delight. Isn't that right, Detective?
Indeed, according to my own research, the boy's motive is clear.
Without a motive, it's nearly impossible to prove guilt in a murder case. Now then, maybe you can enlighten us to what the defendant's motives were.
I'd be honoured to, Sir Old-Timer.
They're doing everything they can to make Ron look suspicious. Despite a lack of hard information, this may be our only chance.
I, Luke Acme, had no points of contact with the victim whatsoever. Kane Bullard decided to investigate Master Mask and simply mistook who he was. It was Mr. Bullard who wrote the blackmail letter and sent it to Ron Delight. And it was again Mr. Bullard who harboured a grudge against Mr. Delight for his betrayal. Mr. Bullard's mistake is quite excusable. The defendant truly believes he's Master Mask. That is why Mr. Delight saw it fit to kill Kane Bullard. Truly a tragedy.
So the victim, Kane Bullard, blackmailed the defendant? This is the blackmail letter found in the defendant's apartment. A handwritten test confirms that Mr. Bullard was indeed the one who wrote the letter.
What?
Very well, Mr. Wright, begin your cross-examination.
And who in the world's going to prove that?
I will. After doing a thorough background check of Detective Acme and Kane Bullard, we were unable to find any links between them. It's all in the report. Perhaps they were connected through their work? They're both involved in security? Nope. That was blunt.
In any case, the only one with a motive was Mr. Delight.
Mistook?
That's right, mistook. From the Old Norse, mistaka, meaning to take in error.
That wasn't what I meant.
Just who did the victim mistake Master Mask to be?
The answer is obvious. Ron Delight, of course.
Boy, I'd like to whoop the smug look off this guy's face. Why would the victim mistake the defendant for Master Mask?
Don't you already know that? Zavari, take a look at this newspaper.
Oh, the famous Tear of Aemon, a magnificent jewel.
The photo shows a magnificent detective as well, does it not? Furthermore, it also shows an ugly guard, namely the defendant.
The defendant?
The victim clearly misread this article, and Zavari, he got the wrong impression. The impression that this ugly security guard was in fact Master Mask.
I see.
That was an unusually reasonable deduction. You mean this blackmail letter right here?
It says bring $50,000.
And the handwriting is without a doubt the victim's?
There's no mistake. We have an official report to prove it. But I don't see an addressee on this letter anywhere.
Addressee?
The letter was discovered in Ron Delight's apartment, and Mr. Delight did show up to the designated place and time. The fact there's no addressee is irrelevant.
I wonder. What's up, Nick? I just had a thought. What if the blackmail letter wasn't meant for Mr. Delight? You have any evidence of that? For some reason, I just can't shake the feeling that there's something not quite right about this blackmail letter.
Well, everyone, are you quite satisfied?
What do you mean by that?
Oh my, how soon you were already aware! Zavari!
KB Security had a lot of security info on all sorts of companies, and since I was a security team chief, I stole data from the company.
Kenny Bullard had yet to forgive young Mr. Delight, which is why he sent in the lecture upon mistakenly believing he was the thief.
Here's a file we discovered in Mr. Bullard's office. Evidence that Mr. Bullard was receiving money through blackmail. However, isn't this a bit odd? Why did the defendant pay Mr. Bullard the money, even though he wasn't actually Master Mask?
On that point, there was an unfortunate bit of chance.
Do you really think that story's gonna hold up?
The assertion is not merely my own, I'm afraid.
What do you mean?
I have here a memo from Ron Delight's wife, Desiree Delight. Ronnie thinks he is Master Mask. Don't you feel sorry for him? Please don't think too badly of him. Well, Mr. Trite?
Was he trying to act like Mr. Light just now? Well, I fucked that up. I thought he was pretty convincing. Now that's just your imagination talking.
Come now, Sir Lawyer. I'm afraid imagination isn't the right word for it. This is a deduction, the result of carefully applied reasoning.
Can we hear that careful reasoning for ourselves?
It's a long story and better saved for another time.
Very well, another time.
Those so-called long stories aren't usually that long, at least not in my experience. Is she going to try and connect Detective Acme to Mr. Bullard, right? Yeah, that's right. Hopefully it won't require surgery either. In that case, you'll have to talk about the blackmail. That's true. Was the blackmail letter really intended for Ron? Since we don't have enough information, you should press it for more testimony. Maybe I'll be able to shake some contradictions loose that way. If you don't, I'll take that red diamond you received the other day instead. I'm sure that's what. Fuck. Let's repress then. Ah, there we go. Mind if I ask you a few questions, Detective Atme?
Well, if it's just a few, I guess it's alright.
When you said this letter was addressed to Rhonda Light, I couldn't help but notice one major contradiction.
Contradiction?
I don't know where a walking contradiction like you gets off saying things like that.
You'll want to talk.
At times like these, men are made to express themselves with their fists. Why don't you show us what you've got there, Junior? Indeed, time to man up, Mr. Wright. Show us the contradiction evidence in the content of the blackmail letter.
That's not how I thought this was going to go.
A little 1-2 punch like that wouldn't even faze me.
I think you mean 1-2 punch.
Mr. Wright, try thinking things through a little bit before finding fault with others.